Hey, everybody, I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. To learn more about us, go to the leonthomasgroup.com. We're here today for a special edition of Real Thoughts and Conversations. And today, everyone on the show, it's only two of us. I don't know why I said everyone. It's me and our lead producer, Orrin Stewart. Hey, Orrin, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
All is groovy. Thanks for being here today for this conversation we're going to have about. I mean, we're going to start with the conversation about LeBron James, but this could take us to some other areas, and I'm looking forward to having that discussion with you.
Yes, indeed.
So I'll kind of set it up and get the conversation going. So, Orrin, here's what went on.
Hmm.
I don't know if it was Monday night, Tuesday night, Sunday. I don't know when it was. I don't follow the NBA, the National Basketball Association, that much.
You're missing out, man.
Yeah, I'm missing out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. Listen, the NBA stands for not before April.
Oh, I hear you. Oh,
All
you
right.
you fake football guys that are football guys. The real true football is soccer. So I know you football folk like to,
Okay. All right.
even though
Here we go.
not that
Now
much
we're gonna
of
start.
football. We're gonna start there. Not much of football is played with your feet. So I don't even know why they call the NFL. It should be
Oh,
the not foot league.
the not foot league. Okay.
Go ahead. I'm
Wow,
sorry.
it's getting hot already. But yeah,
Already.
I understand your point though. I
Yes,
understand
sir.
your point. Not football league, and I'm a Ravens fan, but I'm not
Indeed.
I'm not a fanatic, right?
Indeed.
I do
Indeed.
watch them, and it's more for the family time because I can just spend time with my sons. My wife likes it also.
Okay.
So that's our NFL life, right?
I
We
love it. I
it's a
love it.
bonding time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't watch a lot of NBA.
Uh-huh.
I don't do it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I did see, because I start watching toward the conference semifinals and things like
Yeah.
that. I start watching. And so I saw the Denver Nuggets beat the Lakers
Indeed.
Sunday, Monday, whenever that was.
Yes.
And I'm watching ESPN a couple minutes after the game, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour after the game, whatever it was. And they're talking to LeBron James in a press conference.
Mhm.
And he says, I have a lot to consider.
He
There's a
did.
lot going on. And he insinuates or directly says, retirement's one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then one of the reporters for ESPN later on says, I walked out of the gym with LeBron and asked him directly if retirement was one of those things he's considering. And he said, yes. I'm paraphrasing.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And I'm like, my first thought was, LeBron ain't retiring. I'm better than 95% of the players in the league.
Yeah.
He said that. So I'm thinking, he ain't retiring. But I'm also thinking, why would he come out and say that now? So
Yeah.
what's your take on this
Well,
whole thing,
well,
Oren?
let's just say this. You know me, man. So much of the machine is scripted. I have to go back, take us back a few decades. The machine it grew its legs back when and MJ really was given the baton to take the National Basketball Association to the next level. And what I miss about players of that era were that they showed up to work, play, entertain, but you didn't hear much from them. So you fast forward to now, and I'm saying a lot within that, but not saying a lot, right? But if you fast forward to now, so much of it is a production, so they have to put on a show, right? Showtime. So what we see going on now is, man, we're seeing the possibility of LeBron coming to a close, and I'm looking forward to it. To be honest with you, I think it's time for the next regime to be able to have the face of the NBA. One thing that I always go back and say, and as my family knows, a lot of people know, I respect LeBron and his game, and I respect more of his mind, right? His genius and his ability to have a memory like no other, and it's aspects of him as a family man that I really hold to high regards. But getting back to him as a player, I think that too much of what it is that we know of LeBron was given his flowers before he had earned them. So let's just go back to when he was in high school, when they considered him to be the chosen one. I think, and yeah, you know me, I got to really stretch it out a little bit. But the reason I want to go back there to bring us to now is that what we watched is an individual who was praised well before he had much success. So you just, and I'm dropping little nuggets, but then jump into where he is now. And I actually wrote down on a piece of paper where he said, "I don't know." And I like the fact that he's at a place in time in his life where he doesn't know in regards to his career, because I think it'll allow for the viewers and the listeners to see someone process what life looks like next, right? So we'll be able to see the individual who has been put up on a pedestal come back down to being a mere mortal man and have to make a decision for what's next in his life. So my opinion, I'm looking forward to it. Saying all of that to say my 22 cents I just gave was I'm looking forward to the baton being passed on to the next regime. You know, I like Ja Moran, and I know he has some things going on right now, but let's be honest, you know, he should be, as long as he can get it together, right? The face of the league going forward. And it's a handful of other guys, but Jokic with the Denver Nuggets, I'm looking to seeing them in Miami Heat. And I know you and I are going to talk about Miami Heat and what's going on, and are they going to choke and lose this 3-0 lead that they had at the first of the week, now that they're down two more, so it's 3-2. But that's what I'm looking to see in the finals.
So now let's go to something that you said. And you said it like 2 or 3 times, Oren.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're looking forward
Mm-hmm.
to LeBron not being in the league and handing the baton to the next generation.
Yes.
Now, does that looking forward, by that, do you mean I don't want to see him anymore, I'm tired of seeing him? Or does that mean you want to see those other players have an opportunity? Or is there another position on that? Because when I heard you say that,
Yeah.
part of me was like, only saying he don't like LeBron. And then
So
the other part of
I'm not a LeBron fan. I'll be the first to tell you. I'm
you're
an
not a
MJ fan.
LeBron fan.
I'm not a LeBron fan.
But
I
why? Why
respect
not?
um I always say, to me, LeBron is a hybrid of a Magic Johnson, a Larry Bird, and a Karl Malone, right? So let's just say, so kind of those that understand those players, kind of put those 3 players together and you have a LeBron, right? So what I mean by that is, I think that what has he really done? Now, I'm not saying he hasn't done a lot, but I think that what has happened is too much of praise has been given to an individual where, if we just deal with right now, he's older, right? He's seasoned. He's given all that he can give. But just like Mike was to a degree, and I don't believe I'm about to go here, but just kind of like Mike was to a degree with the Wizards, sometimes the hero can stay around too long that they become the villain. You know, are they in the way? And I think people are afraid to say, LeBron, you're kind of in the way, man. It's time to kind of get out of the way and let those next players that are really up to bat be able to take us to whatever the next level is. I don't think that AD has been able to do what AD is needing to do. You know, I call him the glass man, like a lot of people say. He's made of paper mache, so to speak. He's always injured. But when you think about a lot of the other players that Los Angeles has, I don't like that they threw so much of the heat on Russell Westbrook. You know, considering look at what he was able to do at a few other places till when he got to the Lakers, you weren't able to see him be him. So yes, to a degree, I think it's time for him to get out of the way. My opinion, my 22 cents of an opinion. But I'm looking forward to seeing the next generation be the face of the league. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully I answered your question.
So I just want to make sure, though. I want to make sure I got it. LeBron was 13th in the league in scoring this year.
Okay.
That doesn't sound like somebody that's in his twilight days.
I don't think he's, now I'll say this, from a body standpoint, from a playing standpoint, definitely from a mind standpoint, he has a lot of gas left in the tank. But I also think sometimes that certain players can we know more vets, right? We call them vets. When has that term ever been put on LeBron? It's almost like it's blasphemy to call him a vet, right? But let's look at it when you have players that have hung around, and you have Udonis Haslem that's down in Miami. He's not even looking to get into the game, but he's the life coach. He's the player coach from the bench. LeBron should be that. It's okay sometimes that if you are the face, that you take a step back and a seat back and you just be the voice behind the scenes, helping to encourage the players to get ahead. Sometimes that person who was the man, so to speak, can remain at the forefront way past their time. And I think that happens in way more careers than need be said. It's just like in law enforcement, so to speak. As much as I salute and I respect our law enforcement, when you think about someone that's gone past 20 to 25 years, what older guy is going to really be able to put a person in a position to know that my strength is still brute, so to speak, over your youthfulness. So if people can kind of understand that analogy, where I'm going at is sometimes it's okay to move out of the way, is where I'm getting to. And I think that, when it comes to LeBron, it's time for him to move out of the way, let the next up to bat, and let them show what it is they can do. Now, I'll tell you this much, and I'll say this real quick, and we throw it back to you. I think that when it comes to LeBron, he has a mind that many players have been able to benefit from. But I think that what has happened a lot of times is he's also had to be the person that's out at front doing so much. And then we know how it is when it comes to being on any team in any line of work. When you have that alpha, as we like to say, that's out at front getting it done, and I'm not going to use the term beta for right now, but I'll just say you have some of the other role players that'll fall back. But sometimes it's okay for that alpha to be able to transition into a new stage of life, right? And be able to let a new alpha grow and a new leader, emerge. So that's more of what I'm saying when it comes to where I feel like it's not to say that he doesn't look. He spends $1 million plus on his body yearly, so we know he has it, right? He has a mind like no other. But could he be in the way? They're fearful to talk about this when those that are in those positions at ESPN and a lot of these other places. Nobody wants to say, LeBron, you're in the way. I've said it here first. You heard it here first. LBJ, you're in the way. It's time to step to the side.
Okay.
I salute you, my brother. I respect you. Hands down, you have changed the game as we know it. But it's okay to bow out gracefully and at least fall back a little bit and let somebody else step up. My opinion. My 22 cents.
He's not in a position now that he's underperforming, that he's not performing on the court.
I understand.
When I watched LeBron play, I didn't look at him and go, you know what? He ain't got it no more. He needs to stop. Or, you know what? That's sad. I remember him in his heyday, and he's nothing like it. It's kind of like when the older boxers, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Ken Norton, that whole group, when they retired, maybe they were champion and then lost the title, and they said, "That's it, I'm done."
Yeah.
And then you see them come back 5 years later, right? They had a body like Adonis, and then when they come back, they got a body like mine.
Yes.
And they're talking about, I'm back boxing again, right?
Yeah.
Some of you haven't seen my body. I'm a big boy, okay? I got a little meat on the bones. Let's get that
George
straight.
Foreman. Remember George Foreman?
Right, George Foreman, right?
Yes.
When I watch those matches, I'm like, this is sad. This is sad. He shouldn't be in the ring. I didn't see that with LeBron. In the few games that I watched, again, I'm a every now and then viewer.
Yes.
Right? Remember, not before April.
Yes.
But I didn't see LeBron, and I'm looking at some stats now.
Well,
13th in the league in scoring. So I understand the concept of walking away.
Yes.
But I think if LeBron were to do that now, he would be doing like Jim Brown did, leaving really at the top or almost at the top of your game. Do you see something different in his play? I'm not talking about handing it over, I mean, what do you see in his play?
Well, in his play and stats wise, he's still top tier, right? But when you said if he was to be like Jim Brown, I must say James Brown, Jim Brown, right, and leave at the top peak, my opinion would have been doing that after the championship in Cleveland. So
wow, that long ago.
So let's look at this for a second, right? When you think about the story of LeBron and having come back to Cleveland, won a championship, and if it was that he was able to even win another one, but if he stepped out of the lights at that time, my opinion, like I keep saying, strictly Oren's opinion, but what it is that we would have been, it's almost like Mike with that last shot against Utah in 90. I think I don't even want to try to date myself. I think it was 98, right? Just the way he had that release hung in the air and that shot dropped and the way he came down, it was almost like the closing scene of your favorite movie. right? But then when we saw
Okay.
him come back to Washington and try to get this next young group of guys to where it was that he was able to get the guys at the at Chicago, it didn't happen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Okay.
that's where I'm going at. I'm putting those two situations, putting them parallel to each other. My
Okay.
opinion, LeBron's days. Now, granted, we know that he was able to get a championship, so to speak, right in the bubble, so to speak. But with LA. But what I'm saying is put LeBron with LA to Mike with Washington. Not that much different, right? Mike was giving folk 40, still at 40. But when we look at it from a standpoint of if we go back to some of those players doing those years with Mike at Washington, what happened to some of them, right? If we look at some of these players now with LeBron and the Lakers, what's happening to them? Are they able to grow and evolve and become who they're meant to be when sometimes a person that has been doing it for a while, it's okay to say that they're in the way. Doesn't mean that they're still not producing, doesn't mean that their stats are still not up, doesn't mean that they've lost or had got the body, so to speak. But it's okay to say you're in the way. And yes, that rhyme, people.
All right. So to get it right for this section of the show,
Uh-huh.
earlier, maybe 5 minutes ago, you said
Yes, I did.
that some of the sportscasters, some
Uh-huh.
of the broadcasters on other networks, on other
Yes.
shows, are afraid to say it, but you said it here first.
Said it here first.
LeBron, get out of the way.
Time to go, brother. Yes, it's been nice. It's been great. We appreciate your services. You're amazing, but it's okay to step out of the way and let somebody else come and play. Man, that's
All
another
right.
one. Boom.
So there it is, right here. LeBron, get out of the way.
and,
That's
and
Orange
let me
Stewart.
say this. I want to say this real quick, and this is not me dressing it up. And even though I'm saying it's going to sound like I am, but I'm not. We're not throwing any shade to LeBron's game and to what it is that he has been able to contribute to the National Basketball Association. In no way, shape, form, or fashion. But this is what I want people to understand and leave with. When one transitions into vet status, we don't see them as much. We don't even hear them as much. But their role is just as relevant and important and powerful behind the scenes, a little further down the bench. I would like to see him move into that role, right? To me, see him be the player coach from the bench, sometime in the game, right? Sometime in other positions. Although we know that that's not him, right? It's almost kind of like saying, could we have seen Mike do that? So that's more of my era, and we know no, we couldn't see Mike do that. So players, people of today that are lovers of LeBron, they would probably say that's not even LeBron's game, and I understand that. But the reason that I'm saying what I'm saying is that this is what would help some of the players that he plays with be able to really make it to their potential and surpass their potential. Like I keep saying, my 22 cents, my opinion, but that's what it is that I'm going to stick with. I think
Okay.
that it's just time
All right.
to bow
Before we
out.
go to break, let me tell you where I definitely disagree with you.
That's cool. You know how I am.
Definitely. Number one,
Hmm.
LeBron to go to the end of the bench like Haslam, different player, different everything.
Totally. Totally.
He's not ready for that. And even if he were to try to hang around,
Hmm.
I don't want to see someone that has his playing ability that I remember
Hmm.
in watching his 2021 years end up over there on the end of the bench. We looking down going, that's LeBron. But no, you can't. I don't want to see that.
But see, think about it. We've seen it happen. We've seen it happen with Allen Iverson. We see it happen. I know you're going
And
to bring
and
us to
and,
this.
and I don't want to see it from
Hold on,
I didn't
hold
want to
on.
see it from him either.
And I know you're going to take it to it. We're going to take it here after the break. We saw it happen with Carmelo Anthony. We're going to talk about his whole
I
retirement
didn't
thing,
want to
right?
see it with him
I know.
either.
To a degree, we even saw it happen with Kobe Bryant. So we've seen it
Right.
happen before, and I agree with your point.
Right.
It's what we don't like to see. But the reason that I'm saying this is to me what makes sports sometimes watered down is we forget that this is a job. It's entertainment, no more, no less. But when we're not able to see people go through transitions, right? You're not always at the top. You're not always going to hold and have the mic, right? Or either have the lights. That's the angle that I'm coming from. I'm not saying he's at all a Udonis Haslam.
Right.
I'm not saying that he's at all anybody where his legs are no longer good and his arms can't get up and he's got the dad bod. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Okay.
talking about it from a mentality standpoint to
Okay.
begin to pour in some of
All
that
right.
wisdom into
I
the
think
minds of some of these other guys. That's
yeah,
the angle.
I understand the poor. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now there's two other things we're going to talk about here. This is a special edition of
Yes.
Real Thoughts and Conversations. Now listen, a couple of somebodies are watching on LinkedIn, and I got a message from someone, one of my friends
Uh-huh.
sent me a text, and they said, this show does not belong on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay. NBA is business. Why can't it be on LinkedIn? And number one, you're watching. Let's face it, it's the Friday before Memorial Day. We went on at 1:15 Eastern. Y'all ain't working anyway. Number one, it's a Friday.
Yes.
Nobody's doing serious work on a Friday. Let's be real. Don't put in the comments and say, yes, I am, because then that just shows that you're really not. Okay. So just stop that noise.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Number two, it's a Friday going into a holiday weekend. We know you're not working. You might as well join the conversation. Turn your work computer off, take out your phone, follow the show there on YouTube or LinkedIn or wherever. Now, when we come back, Oren, when we come back, two things we're going to talk about. Let's bring Oren back on because I want to see his reaction to these things that we're going to talk about when we come back. Number one, we're going to talk about LeBron off the court. And a famous broadcaster said, LeBron just needs to shut up and bounce the ball. We want to talk about LeBron off the court, but then we're also going to talk about Carmelo Anthony's retirement and some things that happen in the day after that. That fact, the day of, and how when you look at it, it makes you go,
In the words of Arsenio Hall.
Yes, makes you go, I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. We do a lot of great things in the virtual complex. Please, if we can help you, reach out to us. Go to our website, theleonthomasgroup.com. We have an outstanding group of producers, voiceover artists, and editors that can take your podcast, webcast, or virtual event and turn it into something really, really special. And here's the cool part. All you have to do when you're hosting an event or when you want to present your own show and host your own show, all you have to do is show up. We click the buttons. We do everything else for you to make you look like a superstar and even work with you to turn you into a superstar. So let us know how we can help. We're now going to show you some of our work. Let's take a look at some videos and commercials that were done in-house. And the voices you're going to hear are those of our voiceover artists, Kelly Johnson and Dion Hunter. Here we go.
Renting is everything. It's style at your doorstep. Off the runway and into your closet. It's every trend you've been dying to try and every designer you've yet to discover. It's wearing it your way every time and making it count everywhere you go. It's never worrying about what to wear because something new is always coming your way. That's why renting is everything. New styles, top designers, all for a flat monthly fee. Start your subscription at renttherunway.com.
Slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack. From the creative team that brought you the Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it?
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
We're back. I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group here on a special edition of Real Thoughts and Conversations. We're going to be with you Wednesdays at 9:05, starting on the second Wednesday in June. We're bringing back Real Thoughts and Conversations because you asked for it. Today, the Friday leading into Memorial Day weekend, this is a special Real Thoughts and Conversations. We're talking a little bit about LeBron James, a lot about LeBron James, and a little other NBA hot topics. Listen, there's some other shows we'd like you to make sure that you watch that are a part of the Leon Thomas Group. Take a look on Sundays at 6 p.m. 60 Minutes in Black America. That's hosted by Mike Haney. Another show that we'd like you to take a look at on Sundays at 7:30 From the AD's View, hosted by Dr. Cedric M. Brown. And another show that we produce, First Impression Sports Talk, airs on Mondays at 3:30 p.m., hosted by Jasmine Pollock. You can go to the Leon Thomas YouTube page to see all of those shows and many of the others that we produce. But all of our work isn't there on YouTube. We do a lot of private work for companies and individuals that want to get their message out through podcasts, webcasts, virtual events, and virtual learning. Let us know how we can help you. Contact me. My name is Leon Thomas. Send me an email to Leon at the Leon Thomas Group, or you can reach me directly through the website, theleonthomasgroup.com. Let's get back to our conversation with lead producer Orrin Stewart. Hey, Orrin, so let's jump back into a little bit more LeBron.
Okay.
He's donated a lot of money.
All right.
He's put kids through college. He does a lot off the court.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember like a year and a half ago, whenever it was, I think it was Laura Ingraham, when LeBron commented on a social issue. She said LeBron needs to just shut up and bounce the ball. I'm thinking, shut up and dribble the ball. What do you think? Should LeBron shut up off the court? What do you think, Orrin?
So I know you and I have talked a lot about this off camera, and as I kind of sit here today, I think what has happened is our athletes have become too much of our voice, and I think what people are missing is, and here's what I mean by that: it's a job, right? Let's look at it for what it really is. It's a job to entertain. And when we think about what that means, I think the unfortunate part about it is our society has put it well above positions that people carry, that their opinions and their points really, really matter. Not to say that those athletes' points don't matter, but what I mean when I say that it really matters to where even their service has more to do with an impact that they have on a daily basis when it comes to our teachers and our preachers and our law enforcement and our first responders. You know, when it comes to people that really matter on an everyday basis that aren't providing a service to entertain us, those are to me the opinions of people, that if you put a mic in front of them and you say, okay, what are your thoughts about this? If it's from politics, excuse me, if it's to religion, that I think more of society in the world would want to tune in to listen. But I think that we've put entertainers and we've put athletes on such a pedestal that where for them, yes, because they do have an opinion, but they live with the mic in their hand and in front of their face, and they have a microscope that's on them. So if I said it right, microscope, you guys know what I mean by that. But whereas though, as soon as they speak, the world listens. Well, not the world, because the world really doesn't care. But the United States listens and tunes in. So when she said that, I think that people got their panties in a bunch, and a lot of men, unfortunately, had their skirts hiked up. They needed to remove their emotions and their feelings and get back to the reality that we live in a country that provides us with the freedom of speech. Let her have her perspective, as many people have a perspective, and stop getting upset with when somebody says something that you don't agree with. If you have an opinion of what it is that somebody shares, or you have a difference of opinion, ask them versus take offense to it. So what I would have loved to have heard is, what did she mean by it? And I had to go back and watch it because I knew we were going to touch on it a little bit. But I wasn't really moved by it, man. I think at the end of the day, and I haven't spoke with her, right? So I don't know what her thoughts were. But I think what she was saying, to my opinion, was, man, just keep entertaining. Nobody really wants to hear what you have to say. When it comes to political issues, do what it is that we know you for. We don't know you for anything other than putting the ball in the hoop, slam dunking it, and dribble it and passing. That's all we know you for. But doesn't mean, I'm going to say this, doesn't mean he doesn't have an opinion. Doesn't mean that his opinion is not of value, because it is. Every human being has an opinion because they are a contributor to society. But when we look at how much of who they are and the pedestal that they've been placed on, and that the world, I keep saying the world, the U.S. idolizes athletes, it does our younger people.
No, I think athletes are idolized in other countries too.
Oh, well, I guess what I'm talking about, basketball, because you're right. They definitely are idolized. The real
NBA
football
is a world game. People watch it across the
let's go here for a minute. The NBA is worldwide. NFL isn't. True soccer, football is worldwide, right? So you're right. I'm playing a little bit.
Fans watch it. People watch it across the country, across the world.
Exactly, fans watch it. But they're here to entertain, right? They're a part of the entertainment that we're able to watch and be able to partake in, in pastime, as they say, if hopefully I'm saying that correctly. But when it comes to those that are really making an impact on a daily basis, like I said, first responders, which include our law enforcement, our teachers, our pastors, people that really, when you think about it, our parents, those of us that are really, making a change on an everyday basis. So let's just say this. I'll go here for a second. Let's just say if he was speaking from a parental standpoint, or from a husband standpoint, or a man standpoint outside of his position as LBJ, would we have tuned in? Would the world be listening? Meaning, so when she said what she said, because she was only speaking about what she knows him as, that was it.
Okay. But he did not place himself on that pedestal.
True.
Athletes don't say, here I am, put me on a pedestal.
True.
Fans, people do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at other athletes that have used their platform for social justice, think about Muhammad Ali,
Jim Brown,
right? Yeah. Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? Have used their platform, right? Jackie Robinson.
True indeed.
They used their platform. LeBron making a statement, or any professional athlete, if they do it and a microphone's in front of them, which it often is, they make their statement. The citizens, those listening and watching, need to make the decision of, I don't care about it, or yes, I do, I agree with it, or I disagree with it. I think that if they're citizens of our country, they're allowed to talk. It just so happens to be that they have a platform that most of us don't.
Exactly.
Right? And now they have a platform. They're allowed to talk. It's a matter of who listens and who cares
And I don't think
that
it's
matters.
about them not having, an opinion that we want to hear or not. So I agree with you clearly. Allow them to talk. As nowadays, everybody in the podcast world and so much of where anybody can put a mic in front of themselves
And
and be
speaking
able
of
to.
podcast world, if you want yours to look good, sound good, you need to contact us at the Leon Thomas Group. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, indeed. I like the plug, right? Yes, indeed. As we see right here. But what I'm getting to is everybody now is sharing their opinion to where more people can tune in, is what I'm saying. And this is not any shade to LeBron, not at all. So I don't want people to misunderstand what we're talking about here today, you and I. We're just talking about in regards to right now, we're talking about in regards to the young lady that you were speaking about, that when she said shut up and dribble, I think that it was more than what she was saying just on surface. That if somebody wanted to understand, they had to want to know what she meant by having a conversation with her to go a little deeper, if they even cared. But that's where I was going at when I said I think everybody lives in their feelings and they get so offended so easily that they didn't understand that what she was speaking to probably didn't have much to do with where they took it. Right. So him having an opinion, yes, please share it. But what I'm saying is, and the angle that I'm coming from is, I think that there are more people that should be who we look to, that are having and should be having an impact on our everyday lives. That when it comes to the politics and the religion and a lot of other things that are impacting and affecting our world, those are who we should be going to
Then
and running to, putting a mic in front of them and saying, "What are your thoughts on this?" From the
okay.
work and the service that you provide, we want to
Mhm.
know what your feelings are on this. That's
How do
one.
we get microphones in front of those people? So
Okay.
then we'll go on to the Carmelo thing.
Okay.
How do we get the microphones in front of those people if the police officers are doing a good job, firefighters, everyone who works in public service, those that
Mhm,
volunteer, the
mhm,
pastors, and everyone else that fits under that umbrella,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So, how do we get them with a microphone to be able to talk about what their thoughts are? And how do we get the public to care
Mhm.
about what these people have to say?
So I'll answer it in part, but I'm gonna start here because you're not gonna run off on a tangent. Get back to valuing family. Get back to valuing what really matters, and not seeking and desiring to be entertained. I think that what has happened, and I'm just kind of gonna let my mind kind of roll for a second. I think that what we've seen happen, in the latter day for probably over the past, let's just say 50 years, we've seen entertainment become what everybody runs to and goes to. So those individuals that are in those positions, like you said earlier, they just happen to be able to do what they do well and be given an opportunity to do it. But where what we also know is there are many people that are in other positions that, because they're not entertaining, but they're providing a service, we don't value them the way that we should, right? So we hold such to high regards the value of someone that's entertaining us and making us feel good and jump up and down and be able to feel some type of way for a moment, versus those that are really impacting and changing the world as we know it. So that's what I'm saying. To me, the way that we put the microphone in front of them is that the machine begins to shed more light on those that really are changing the world, the average everyday man and woman that is really impacting what it is that we know, this thing called life and earth and world to be, which is moms and dads and law enforcement, and like you said, firemen and firewomen and teachers and past people who are your everyday people. That if we were able to say, you know what, when we teach our kids and we tell our kids, because I listened to Charles Barkley, I want to say this real quick, and this is something that he said a while ago. He said he went to speak at a school. I actually just saw this again the other day. He said he went to speak at a couple schools. He said when he went to the African American school and he asked the young kids, "What do you all want to be when you grow up?" Everybody said, "I want to be either an athlete or an entertainer." And he said only a few numbers said that they wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, or someone else, right? But when he went to schools where it was predominantly white, he asked those students, most of them said, "I want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something that had nothing to do with entertainment or athletics." Right. So I'll just drop that for people to kind of think about and this is some of what it is that goes on in my head, right, on a daily basis. But I want people to think about it is, where do a lot of everyday people hold their values in? Is it in being entertained or being a service to transform and change life as we know it? Right. So the way that we can really change and have the microphone put back in to the hands of those that are let's just say, really making the world go round is by when we have these children, when we say to ourselves we want to raise these children to become the next so forth and so on, that we tell them, you know what? Although we know that you may want to be this, because when we all sit around the table or we sit around the sofa and we root on our favorite team, just know that they're here to entertain us. Okay, if you think that this is what you want to be, but know that what it takes to get there
Right.
requires a lot.
Now, I hear what you're saying, in
And I know
particular
I ran off on a tangent as I do.
about the Charles Barkley piece. Here's what I think. You said that in a black school, I
Mhm.
want to be an athlete. In a
Mhm.
white
Yeah,
school,
right.
I want to be a professional. I want to have a professional career, white
Mhm.
collar career, let's call it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Now, those white kids are still watching sports and television.
Oh, yes, they are.
The difference, as I see it, is this: it's hard to want to become something you haven't seen.
You sure you want to go here, Leon?
It's hard to become something you haven't seen. All right. Now, when we talk about black school,
Okay.
all
Okay.
right,
Oh, okay. 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 You
follow
go.
me through now. We talk about black school,
Okay.
right? How many kids that are attending a black school,
Mhm.
other than when they go to the doctor, have seen a doctor
True.
or know a doctor, or when someone is in legal trouble,
Mhm.
I see an attorney because I need an attorney.
Mhm.
Outside of that, how many attorneys do they see? Now,
True.
if we go to the using that example, the white school,
Mhm.
okay, they see lawyers.
Uh-huh.
Dad is the lawyer.
Mhm.
Mama's a doctor,
Mhm.
right? They see more of that.
Mhm.
Therefore, it's easy to say, I want to become.
Mm.
But I have a way to we change that though.
Okay.
We expose, and again, we're talking about that one specific example. I want our viewers to know we're talking about that one example from Charles Barkley.
Yes.
He said black school, white school. We're
Yes.
just commenting on that.
Yes.
Black school, white school. And I'm going to ask our producer if you could run that banner, please, that says, the legal piece. Go ahead. Yeah, thank you very much.
Disclaimer.
So, listen, we're talking about Charles Barkley's statement,
Mhm.
black school, white school.
Mhm.
I think if we take the kids from the black school
Mhm.
and expose them to other things other than sports, right? And I
Okay.
don't mean by saying, let's bring in a speaker.
Yeah.
I'm talking about let's take them on the trip.
Yeah.
And let's just immerse them with it. Let's just hit them with it everywhere,
Okay.
right? You can do this, you can do that, you can do that. And it doesn't have to be a black doctor or lawyer or whatever else that they see. They just
Mhm.
need to see it.
Okay.
That's what I think then starts to
The
shift
conversation is
things
shifting.
into I don't want to be a basketball player. I want to be a doctor. Let me give
Okay.
you a quick example.
'Cause you know I have
I
one.
coach racquetball,
Yes, indeed.
right? In talking with one of the parents last week,
Mhm.
they were in a meeting with a group of other kids and
Mhm.
parents, right? A positive thing happening at the school, and they went around the room and said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?"
Okay.
I want to be a teacher, a doctor, a nurse. What your typical, let's call it.
Okay.
When it came to the kid that plays racquetball, he says, "I want to be a professional racquetball player."
Nice.
Everybody else in the room said, I didn't know that they had professional racquetball players. And others said, I never heard of racquetball.
Yeah.
Why does this kid say, I want to be a professional racquetball player? Because he's been exposed to racquetball
Mhm.
and he's been on the court with professional racquetball players. So now, because he's seen something different,
Yeah.
it's easier to say, I want to be because I've seen.
True, true, and I get your point, and I love it, man. I love the angle that you're coming from, Leon. You are very right in that. I was going to give you 100%, but I'll leave some of the percentage off to say for those that may see a little different in that. Exposure is very no. Here's where I'm going at.
I
Here's
don't
where
get
I'm going.
100.
I can't give you 100 on that one.
I don't get
I'm gonna-
100.
Here's why.
That was
Ben
some of my
Carson,
best work.
but here I know it was. You gave it all to me, right? Ben Carson, pause, right? Ben Carson did not see a doctor, but wanted to become a doctor. I only saw one of my friends have a father in my community growing up, but I wanted to become someone's dad. I only saw one, maybe two marriages growing up and not in my family, but I wanted to marry someone one day and have a family. So it only takes one time. It doesn't have to always be with consistency that someone sees it a lot. Exposure is very important, experience is very important, but at the end of the day, I think that we have to want to see and be something different than only what we see is the angle that I'm coming from. So I think that we give too much of an excuse for why those that look like you and I only want to become what it is that we know more of us run after to become, because it's not even as much that they want to become the next athlete or entertainer, but they want to be in a position where they have people praising them and holding them to a position to say, you know, you matter, right? But I think that what we have to get back to is making sure that we matter to one another on an everyday basis. So it's not what you do, like we were talking about it a little while ago to, and I was saying this to one of our, producers, Jay. I was saying, with having kids graduating, I'm gonna bring this in real quick. I'm not looking to praise them because they're graduating. I'll praise you once you are walking in the life of independence.
You're not
You're
praising
out of my
an
house.
accomplishment of graduation?
No. Here's where I'm going at, because I always say, because you know me, man, I'm different. I'm not saying that I'm not gonna, give you some sense of form of praise to say job well done, but I'm like Kobe Bryant. The job isn't done. The job isn't done until the championship is won. Man, I'm dropping gems today, right? The job isn't done until the championship is won, meaning so the job isn't done until you have that full-time job to where you've moved out of my house and I could come by your house and get a meal, or you can come pick me up in your car and take me on a ride. That's when I will sing you praise, because whatever the work is that we did up until that point, then the trophy can be given. But
So
up
do you
until then, it's still work to be done. So I think that
so
we do too much celebrating
so
all
then
the time.
let me use
I said a whole lot.
really, really,
Go ahead.
really, really
Uh-huh.
watered down example
Go ahead.
that's a close analogy to what you're saying. I'm gonna use a sports analogy.
Okay.
All right. We're trying to win the championship.
Mhm.
I don't care what level. We're
Okay.
trying to win the championship.
Uh-huh.
All right. I make a basket in the third game of the season,
Okay.
and my teammates go, "Yeah, Leon, way to go." Are you saying that shouldn't be celebrated
I'm the coach
because
that's
that's not the championship?
I'm the coach that's going to say, "Great shot. Get on back on defense."
Okay, but now you did say great shot though. You
Yeah.
are saying something good.
So yes, I will get okay.
So you did say something
I,
good,
I
right?
may not say it every time, because here's the
Okay,
thing.
but
Here's the thing. That
but the
kid-
way I heard you say
okay.
we ain't celebrating
No, no,
because
no,
the
no, no,
job
no.
ain't done, it leads me, and I'm hoping it didn't lead some viewers too to think you're the guy that goes, "Oh, you graduated, how nice.
Oh, that's me
Oh,
though.
how nice.
That is
Oh,
me.
how nice."
That
But
is me.
you're not saying nice job on this part of your life?
No,
Like you
here,
just said you would in basketball? You're not applauding along the way?
so I want it to be understood. I'm happy for you, yes, but I don't want you to stop there. So we're not gonna stop there. So yes, I'm big on what's that term? Smell the roses while you're on the road, or whatever the case may be. Yes. But what I'm getting to, I'm speaking more to the bigger picture. I think that what we do is we do too much celebrating along the way versus really make sure that the younger generations understand, and that's why I quoted Kobe for a minute. The job isn't done. So where so people, if you go back and you watch it, it was a particular post interview
Mhm.
press conference after a
Yeah,
game, and
yeah.
the coach was asking him, saying, "Man, why does your face look like that? You're not happy for this win." He said, "The job isn't done. It's just not done yet. So, what do you want me to look like? We just really did something. All we did was win a game." So that's where I'm coming from, that angle of saying, okay, if you graduated from elementary school to middle school to high school, okay, great. Here you go. What's next? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, let's make sure that we keep the fire lit until folk get to a place of where they're self-sufficient, right? To where they are a true contributor. So I'm going back to even what we talked about a little bit a while ago, that they're in a position to where they are a full contributor, that the independence and the skill set that they've developed along the way can be of use and of service, is what it is
So
is what it is that I'm saying. So that's
so
the angle that I'm coming from.
you are not saying, I will make sure we get it right. You are not saying that you're not a person who believes in positive reinforcement, as in you did something good, way to go. You're saying you're the guy that says, yeah, that's nice. You did something good, but keep moving. There's more.
Yes. So positive reinforcement from me, let's say this to stand to be corrected. Positive reinforcement has its place. Yes. Especially because I mean, I always say this, depending on the particular, let's just say depending on the particular individual, right? Sometimes you may need to give certain individuals, 70-30 positive reinforcement and 30% critique, right? But at the end of the day, we need not, and this is, I'm opening this entire thing up, right? We know that we live in a society that gives 80 to 90% positive reinforcement and 5 to 10% constructive criticism. So that when they hear it, they don't even know what it is and why it is. I mean, you know me, here I go. When we think of what scripture really is, the Bible says, and it's clear that it tells us it's there to rebuke us, train us, and correct us. But people run from that. When the last time you heard a preacher preaching the scripture in a way that it's rebuking, correcting, and training? No, they're trying to massage you so that you stay in their seats and you keep coming back and coming back. So, I'll pull a lot of different things in, but where I'm going to is this. When are we going to get back to the old school, right? I was going to date you for a second, right? But we'll just say a couple generations before you, to where dads, at the end of the day, when your father stood in front of you, you knew what time it was, right? Your mother wasn't going to sit there and say, oh, baby, it's going to be all right. Both of them were going to say, get back out there and get it done. Like, you got this. You could do this, right? That's where I'm coming from. That's the angle I'm coming from.
All right. You actually, I thought I understood it.
Yeah, you understand.
Now I don't.
I know you may not.
I thought I was with you. I thought I understood it.
Listen,
But
I'm
now-
one of those type
now-
of guys. You got to go back and watch it again.
I'm not going to go back and watch it again. I got to get it now. I got to get it now. Okay. So we'll have to discuss that on another show.
Another show. There you go. Got to leave him wanting more.
Another show. All right.
Yes,
now,
indeed.
Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony. Yes.
All right. Now, here's
New York born, Baltimore raised.
Listen. Number one, on the LeBron thing, instead of allowing Denver to have their moment in the sun, that they made it to the Western Conference, to the NBA Finals for the first time, an hour later, I don't know, I'm thinking about retiring. We've talked about that, but the timing of it,
Yes.
right? And then before the game, right, same day of the game, Carmelo says, I'm announcing my retirement.
Yes.
And we see a video from LeBron.
We did.
And you and I talked about it, right? And I hadn't thought about some of the things that you discussed in our conversation. I want you to share some of those things where in the post-game conference, LA, Denver,
Yeah.
LeBron said something like, oh yeah, I knew it was going to happen.
He said, I
If
take
y'all
my part a
noticed-
week ago.
Yeah, we did it a week ago. So
Yeah.
it's all scripted stuff. This is junk.
It's funny, and I'm glad that you said it, right? So I'll follow your lead, even though I know I said it a little while ago.
Oh, what did I say that you're
No,
glad
when you said
about?
it's scripted, that part,
Oh,
right?
it's scripted.
So,
Okay.
so we know that it's a production. And it goes back to a little bit of what we were saying together and individually. A lot of what we see is to entertain, right? It's to get us, up off of our seat, so to speak. But I don't want to take anything away from a little bit of what it was that LeBron was doing. LeBron was sending praise to a friend of his, someone that he met along his journey of playing basketball well before he got into the league. We know that they played against each other in high school. So I appreciate what it was that he did and what it is that he spoke about in reference to Carmelo. Those moments are to be celebrated, right? Because the job is now, to a degree, one chapter is closing, a new one will be ending. One chapter is ending, a new one will be beginning soon. So salute to you, Carmelo, as well. I'm definitely Baltimore bred. What I want to speak to is the fact that where we saw a lot of LeBron being talked to when Denver was who was winning, right? So I heard another reporter speak about the fact that a reporter was interviewing, I think, Denver's coach, and he was speaking to the fact that why are we not talking about Jokic and what Jokic has been able to do, and a lot of the other players, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon, and a lot of the other players that were able to, let's just say, defeat, the Los Angeles Clippers. But we have to know that this thing is called entertainment. the Showtime Lakers have to be in the conversation. It's impossible to believe, it's blasphemy, as they want to say, to sit and see them kind of go out. What did they used to do with it on TNT? What did Ernie and Shaq and Kenny and Chuck used to do? They used to get the fisherman hats out and send the rope out and the broom and everything. Did they do that to the Lakers? Probably not. I hope they did. If they did, I'm doing it here. I don't have a hat to put on real quick. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put one on for you. I'll put my Bulls hat on for y'all real quick, or I'll switch off. I'll put my Orioles hat on. Either way, it's time. There you go. You got one on. There we go. Right. It's time to brush the LA off. Let's go and brush them off, and let's salute the Denver Nuggets for a job well done, and that they're able to sit back and relax and wait and see what happens with Miami and Boston. And I don't know. I think this is a good segue for us to turn into this direction.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes to go.
2 minutes, right? So I'll say
2
it real
minutes.
quick.
2 minutes. What's going to happen? What's going to happen in the East?
Yes. So Boston is showing that they have a few dogs over there, man. You know, we already knew it, but we're seeing them turn it up a notch. I'm liking playoff Jimmy. I know Jimmy doesn't like to hear that, but he definitely takes it to another degree when it comes to playoff time. But I'm hoping that they're able to pull it through, because I would love to see Miami and Denver. But let the best man win in the East, right? At the end of the day, whatever it is that happens, they're going to see Denver. They're going to see Jokic. They're going to see him be able to do what it is that he does. And they're going to be able to see a team well coached, give it their all and give it their best. Like I said, Ernie, Chuck, Shaq, Kenny, where's your fisherman's hats, gentlemen? Where's your brooms? You didn't sweep off LA as you usually sweep off everybody else. Maybe you did. Maybe I just didn't catch it. I'm like Leon, I didn't catch everything. But it's time to make sure that we really shine a light on another team that has a possibility. And maybe, let's just say you heard it here first, maybe could build a dynasty. Who knows?
Oh, Denver?
Never know.
All right, we're gonna have to come back and talk some more about
Let's do it.
this. We're gonna have to come back. Listen, here's my take on it for 30 seconds, and then
Yes,
we'll close out. I think we're gonna see 7 games in the East, simply because they need the Memorial Day money. They don't need it, but they want it.
I like it.
8:30 Memorial Day evening, Game 7 in the East. It's gonna happen. Imagine there's not the excitement about the build up to the NBA finals like there is in the Super Bowl. You know, they have the playoffs and they have 2 weeks off before they play the Super Bowl. The NBA is scheduled. They don't like that downtime.
No.
They don't like that downtime.
Yeah.
Look for 7 games. That's where I'm going for.
I like that, man.
That's what
Heard
I'm
it
going
here
for.
first.
All right.
I like
We'll
that. This has
see.
been
Maybe
great.
we'll see. I'm Leon. He's Oren. We both work for the Leon Thomas Group. Enjoy the conversation, Oren. Thanks for coming on screen. We're usually behind the screen. We get our chance to come on today.
I miss being in front. So this is
our
good.
time
This is
to
fun.
come on. Right
Yes,
on.
sir.
Thanks for watching Real Thoughts and Conversations by the Leon Thomas Group. I'm Leon Thomas. That was Oren Stewart. We look forward to seeing you watching another Real Thoughts and Conversations. To get in touch with me to host your own show, go to our website and check out everything we're doing at theleonthomasgroup.com. Thanks to our producer, Dr. Jay Rasenko, in the back. We're ready to roll on out of here. Thanks for watching Real Thoughts